Hi, I thought I'd give you a quick introduction to the marvellous game 316, Carnage Amongst the Stars. Yeah, I think it's primarily called 316, and Carnage Amongst the Stars is like a subtitle to it. This is like a very brief overview. I'm thinking I'll do a second video to follow on from this one where I'll take you through a combat encounter, which shows you the core of the rules anyway. So what is 316 Carnage Amongst the Stars? It's set far in the future, as this cover image suggests. Humanity has solved all its problems. There's no hunger. You don't die of old age. There's no disease. People just effectively can live as long as they want to. But a malaise has fallen over humanity because after a couple of hundred years, you just run out of interesting things to do. So as a result of that, humanity, in a way that only humanity can, formed the star-going fleets, armadas and armies, of which the 3rd of the 16th is one of them, to basically just make sure that this wonderful paradise on Earth is never disturbed. And we do this by eradicating all life on every planet, everywhere. Hence these flotillas, these armadas, these armies are sent away to just destroy everything. So it's a very tongue-in-cheek kind of a background. Life is cheap, especially alien scum. That is the most cheap of all. So a campaign in this game would be you taking your characters over a series of battles. And the campaign is made up of, let's say perhaps a session would be a single mini campaign of destroying all life on one planet, one alien race being wiped out. And over a number of sessions, your actual campaign, you would go on and do perhaps 20 of these missions, whereby you're destroying all life, all one type of life perhaps. And again, there's no mercy in it unless you want to put that into your game. But it's very much a storytelling game. The mechanics themselves are relatively simple. So quick look at the art here. You see this sort of hand-drawn comic-y book style? That's what we've got throughout here. And I have to say, it's pretty evocative. It's pretty evocative. So tongue-in-cheek. Oh, I've gone past it. There we go. So I thought I'd show you a character sheet. There's not a lot of places on this character sheet for writing down stats, and that's because basically you've got two stats, FA and NFA, and as you can see in the middle there, FA is your fighting ability and NFA is your non-fighting ability. These are your primary stats. Every time you're challenged to do something, you'll be rolling a die against one of these two stats. So you start the game with 10 points to spend between the two stats. And so you could have, if you're perfectly balanced, you could have an FA of 5 and an NFA of 5. If you want to be an officer or a sergeant, then you need a higher NFA. You know, you're better at admin and organising people on the battlefield. And that's part of the mechanics of the game, which I'll get to in that supposed next video. So on the left here, yep, you got a name. You want to give yourself a reputation, like, oh, you're a hard ass, are you the comedian, you know, something like that. And you'll probably start out with a rank of trooper. However, whichever player character has the highest NFA is going to be a sergeant. The second highest NSA is going to be a corporal, and everybody else will be a trooper. So you play one individual character. However, when you're playing the game as such, let's say you've got 3 players, each with one character going on a mission to destroy all life on a planet. They're not doing it on their own. So later on, once you've had a few promotions, you might be a colonel. Well, that means you're leading, you know, you could be leading a battalion of troops. They have no mechanical effect on the game. But you could make an NFA roll to say that your troops are going to maneuver around the back and attack it. And you play with the story, the fiction in that regard. Total kills. Kills on this mission. Okay, it's all about getting kills. Kills are effectively, you've killed an alien, and that's worth like an experience point, if you will, in Dungeons and Dragons. So you want to maximise the number of kills you can get with your character. Kills this mission is pretty important, because once you've completed your eradication of life on one planet, you return back to the ships. And it's that point, whoever's got the most kills gets to advance their character. And there's quite an interesting balance here, because if you have the sergeant to start off with, you've got a higher NFA, which means you've got a lower FA, which means you get less kills on average than troopers, who will get more kills. So there is a seesaw, if you like. So the ones who are troopers are more likely to are more likely to get promotions and go up, and then that'll seesaw backwards and forwards. And as you get promotions, you can increase your stats as well. So a little bit further down here, you can see health. There's basically 3 states. If you take a kill, because if you take a wound, that's called a kill. If you take a kill, you become a mess. And of course, you use that description within the fiction. Again, it has no effect on the mechanics of the game, but as you're describing the fiction, on how you're trying to run away from them, you're a mess. Maybe you're limping or whatever. The next one is crippled. Well, if you get a second kill, you're basically crawling across the battlefield. If you get a third kill, you're dead. That's it. Time to get a new character. It's pretty lethal in that regard. However, there are options. Armour. Rather than taking a kill yourself, you can choose to let your armour take the hit, and you get 1 armour hit for the entire planet. So once you've cleared that and you go back to the base, back to your ships, as it were, you can replace your armour. So you've got to choose when you do that. Down here, we've got weapons, and you can see close, near, and far. So each weapon will do a different amount of damage based on how far you are from the enemy. It's very abstract in this game. There's no, weapon ranges are not listed as meters or kilometers or yards or anything like that. There's just three categories of distance. Close means you're in hand to hand, and then near means you're beyond that, and far means they're, a long way away. That's all. And you do different numbers of kills based on the range and the weapon you're using. Now, one of the I don't know, perhaps the word to say is the outstanding aspects of this game are these flashbacks over here. As you complete missions, you can earn a new weakness or a new strength. And you use up a strength. Once, at the moment, this single slash, as it says here, it's available. So I can have 1 flashback that's a strength if I want, or 1 flashback that's a weakness. So let's say you're in a terrible situation. 2 of your buddies are wounded. Let's say you're wounded as well. You can say, right, I'm spending a strength. And that means you win. So regardless of what dice were rolled, you can say, no, I'm going to spend my strength. And you narrate a flashback in your character's history that somehow applies to the current situation. So let's say you flash back to when you were doing all your jiu-jitsu training. And you narrate some sort of scene there, and then you flash back forwards into the current scene, and you narrate how that allows you to win the scene and eradicate the threat that you're currently under. Weakness is similar. That allows you to in the fiction, you lose, but it does allow you to withdraw. So let's say you're defending a base at the time and you get into dire straits and you have to use a weakness. Okay, you've lost the base if you use that weakness. So you need to narrate how you've lost the base, but at the same time, you can be making your escape. There's different types of kit. There's none listed on this character sheet, but all different kinds of kit, as well as your armour. You could have medikits, all these kinds of things. And you earn medals for how many kills you get and how long you survive, and you can just make general notes. So the mechanics I've half explained here are very simple, but that's not the driving force. In this game, you don't look at your character sheet to work out what you're going to be able to do in a scene. There's no looking down to see, well, I have got that 10-foot leap. No, If you want to make a 10-foot leap, you just tell the referee and make an NFA roll. And in this case, it's 10-sided dice. So you would roll a 10-sided die, and if you get equal to or under your NFA, you succeed. It's as simple as that. With fighting ability, roll the die, a D10 again. If you get your FA or less, then that's success. And then you look to your weapon, look to the current range, and roll a number of appropriate kills. What else have I missed out? Okay, there's another thing. If you fail a roll, let's say you're in a combat situation and you fail your FA, you do have an option once to use combat drugs. And then you get the option to roll your die again if you use those drugs. But you can only do this once. And if you re-roll and get a 10, your character's dead. It's as simple and straightforward as that. So you could have had them through 10 battles, got them up to Colonel, and then they take the drugs and they die. Life is cheap. Your character is no different. They're cheap as well. But they can progress if you survive, if you use your weaknesses and your strengths appropriately. So a strength, for instance, could get everybody out of trouble. A weakness can just get you out of trouble. There you go. I think that's enough for now. As I said, I'll probably make another video going over the combat mechanics because they're quite original. All right, see you next time.